Okay, so without any further ado, we will dive right in here. So the Grow with Google program is a new initiative, and it's designed to help people, not only small businesses, but they also have programs that are designed for job seekers and teachers and even people who are looking to gain IT skills. So there's actually a lot of different categories in the Grow with Google program. I am obviously a part of the small business program, so that is my lot in all of this. So we're going to set the stage here for this information about data. Getting data is not a problem anymore. We have lots and lots of data. Google's opportunity is to take this huge amount of data that we have and make it manageable for people to enable them to be able to interpret it. And in order to do that, we have to find interconnections, meaning patterns, themes, and build that in a context for genuine understanding. Ultimately, the goal here is to provide actionable insight that you can use to either prove or disprove a hypothesis. So let's start by defining insights. What does insights mean? Insights help you create a more effective business solution using strategies informed by real consumer truths, whether they're brand strategies, creative ideas, product innovation, or media plans. The trouble is, insights are notoriously hard to pin down. If you ask 100 people to define the word insight, you're going to get 100 different answers. What is clear, though, is that when businesses look to Google for help with finding insights, they're not just looking for data. Insights are based on data, but insights are novel, credible, and actionable enough for them to unlock new opportunities. A great insight is unexpected, yet obvious. An insight must be able to inspire action, and it has to be useful. So I want to introduce you to a mother and daughter team, Tracy and Danny. In 2010, they took cake decorating classes. Their passion became a business, and their first store opened in October of 2011 in Massachusetts. Now, as their reputation grew, they received hundreds of shipping requests, but they couldn't find a way to ship cupcakes anywhere and have them arrive fresh and intact. That's when they came up with this big idea: cupcakes in mason jars. By filling jars with layers of cake, frosting, and filling, the cupcakes stayed fresh for 10 days without refrigeration, and they could easily be shipped. Well, the news of this idea spread, and in April 2013, Tracy and Danny debuted their product on Shark Tank in front of 10 million television viewers. And at that point, Wicked Good Cupcakes became the go-to site to buy unique baked goods online. Everything they do is homemade, and it's baked from scratch. There's no mixes. Wicked Good Cupcakes is a company that we're going to use to explore how they use data to reach their goals. Sometimes making decisions on gut instincts work, right? We all know that. We have businesses, and sometimes that works. But it's usually better to base decisions on actions and on data. So here's a hypothetical scenario. If Wicked Good Cupcakes monitored their Google My Business reviews, they might have learned that customers really don't care for a seasonal flavor, and that there was a trend going on that people were asking for a particular flavor. So instead of cutting prices when sales are down, a business could use insights like this to introduce different promotions or different products, or in their case, they could have introduced more flavors. Many decisions could see improved results if there was data there to support it. So when Wicked Good Cupcakes started, they assumed their customer base was primarily females, ages 35 to 54. And that's what they used to drive their marketing initiative. Once they actually looked at their analytics online, they learned that their biggest market was 25 to 34-year-olds. So then they were able to adjust their marketing strategy. So before we go any further, let's just define some of the terms used in today's session. Data is information you obtained from users, like demographics, behavior, and activity. Analytics are patterns and trends discovered in data. It's how you make sense of it all and how you uncover meaningful trends. Insights are the value you gain from data and analytics. Insights should be actionable and prescriptive. In other words, you know what to do next. So here's an example. Let's assume that you have an e-commerce website. Data shows that you've had 1,500 site visits in the past 30 days. Analytics shows that 30% accessed your site from a mobile device. Insights reveal that visitors using mobile devices are 60% more likely to convert. So there you go. You've got your aha moment right there. But if you're new to data and analytics, the reports can be overwhelming. And I totally get it. It looks like a bunch of bars and graphs just blown up in your face. So let's take a look at ways to use that data to help you make decisions instead of relying on gut instincts. And this involves using tools to see patterns in the way consumers use your website. So before diving in, we need to identify goals in order to ask the right questions. So here's how we recommend that you get started. First, outline your goals, the customer actions you care about the most. What outcomes do you want, and what do you want to improve? One example might be that you want to increase web traffic by 20%. Second, what questions do you need to ask? What information do you need to know to achieve these goals? One quick tip, the questions we ask about offline advertising campaigns often apply online too. And third, determine which tools and reports can help you get answers. So let's start with goals. It's really hard to reach a goal if you don't know what that goal is. So what do you want to happen? What are you trying to achieve? Everything you do should be in order to support your goal. The main types of goals, like the example we used before, increasing web traffic by 20%. This is a good goal, but is it meaningful? Before we go any further, let's talk about what a good business goal is. One way is to use the SMART framework, and you've probably heard this before. Is the goal specific and detailed? Can you track this goal? How will you measure it? How will you know when you've accomplished it? Is the goal realistically attainable? Will this goal help you reach your business goals? And is it relevant to your business? And when do you want to achieve this goal? Set a time frame. So here's a potential goal for Wicked Good Cupcakes. They set a goal to decrease shopping cart abandonment to under 60%. They used analytics to find how many users were adding a package to their cart over a period of time. Then they compared that number to the total transactions during the same time period to measure the cart abandonment rate. As time went on, they made modifications to the checkout process to decrease that number. So they just made it easier for people to check out. With every little change that they made, they reviewed those numbers, and ultimately they were able to make their cart abandonment rate to under 45%. Now, different sites have different goals. If you have an online website with orders, you might have, sales goals, but you may want to increase engagement, or you might want to generate leads. So every site is going to be a little bit different. So what are your goals? There's some ideas. You might want to generate leads. You might want to create appointments. You might want to increase online sales, or increase phone calls, or foot traffic, or downloads of a special downloadable book you might have. So take a few minutes in your notes and write down some of what your goals are. Be as specific as you possibly can. And normally, if I was doing this presentation in person, I would give you like 5 minutes or whatever to do that. But I'm just going to move on because we're doing this on the internet, and you can watch it later, and you can write down your goals at another time. So I'm just going to keep cruising right along. So now that we've defined goals, we can consider what questions we need to ask in order to meet those goals. Let's look at some samples. So The frame you see represents stages of a business relationship with customers. You ask questions and use their answers to move customers through each of these stages. First, you reach customers with methods like advertising, organic search results, social media, and offline promotions. After they arrive, you need them to engage. Can they find what they're looking for on your website? Then it's conversion time. This goal helps visitors complete an action on your website. For example, they might buy a cupcake, or they might submit a form with a question about how to submit a custom order, how to sign up for a newsletter, etc. Ultimately, you want to sustain a long-term relationship and get a customer to come back. So this could be a rewards program, discounts, etc. So to recap, reach questions ask, how do customers find me? Engage questions say, what do they look at and engage with? Convert questions, do visitors become customers? And sustain, do my customers return? We'll be coming back to these phases throughout the rest of the workshop. Let's start talking more about reach. Think of reach as the people you want to visit your website and to become your customers. Reach questions help you understand brand recognition and awareness and how people find you online. So back to the Wicked Good Cupcakes. Let's say there's a hypothetical goal. Let's say Wicked Good Cupcakes want to establish a new goal of increasing online orders 10% this month. They might ask, how do people find me online? If customers can't find your business online, then they can't place an online order. So a good thing to ask might be, so how can people find me online? And so they're going to need to know that answer. All right. So let's move on to engage. The next question is engage. Engage questions involve discovering how or if people who find your site interact with that site. Do they navigate more to one certain page of your website? Do they watch your videos? Do they search for things on your website? Do they download a PDF spec sheet? Maybe they look at a menu if you're a restaurant website. Some of these questions you can find by using Google Analytics, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Most commonly for local businesses, when you start looking at what it is that customers do on your website, one of the top things they're doing is finding where you are and when you're open and how to get a hold of you. So those are easily the top 3 things that people will do. All right. So conversions turn site visitors into paying customers. Convert questions help you find out how or if that happens. Once people find you online, do they take further action? Do they make a purchase? Do they sign up for a newsletter or schedule an appointment? To meet these goals, Wicked Good Cupcakes can ask, how many online orders did I receive last month? Sustain. Sustain turns customers into loyal customers that continue to interact with your business. So sustain questions help you understand what customers say about you online. Do they like your products and services? Do they wish you did better? Is there something you could do better? Are they a brand advocate for you? Do they talk about you on social media? So to meet Wicked Good Cupcakes goals, they might ask, what are people saying about my business online? So let's take a look at some of the tools that we can actually use to help us achieve these goals. Google Analytics. If your goal is to increase online orders this month by 10%, they might want to know where their traffic is actually coming from. And for that answer, they're going to visit Google Analytics. Google Analytics is a free tool and is one of the most popular website analytics tools available that helps people to better understand their customer experience. It can help you understand customers by knowing the demographics, the gender, and the interests of the people who visit your website. It can also help you understand behavior on your website and what actionable steps to take. In other words, when people come to your website, where do they go? And are they reaching the right page? Or maybe that page is down. Are they leaving after they reach a certain page? That might be an indicator that you might want to make sure that page is working. How do they find your site? Like through organic traffic, search results. And You can also use Google Analytics to track and record your goal completions. So Google Analytics can help you answer reach, engagement, convert questions about your business, like how do people find my website? What do customers interact with once they find me online? And what demographics visit my site the most? Now, Google Analytics can seem really complex and very daunting. There are a million ways to mix and match segments to produce reports. So this is an overview of categories of how you can mix and match filters to show reports. Real time shows the impact of marketing efforts in real time. It's immediately and continuously monitoring the effects of the campaign and your site changes. Conversion reports is the completion of an activity that's important to the success of your business, such as signing up for an email newsletter or making a purchase. You can use these reports to see how all your channels work together to create a sale. Audience reports provide insights into characteristics of your users, such as demographics, their interests, their geographic location, the language that they speak, as well as their behavior and what sort of technology or devices they're using to access your website. Acquisition reports provide a window on your user's acquisition behavior conversion, which is also known as ABC cycle. Basically, it's how you acquire users and how they behave on your website and their conversion patterns. A behavior report tells you how behavior varies between the new user and the return users of your website. So the real-time report shows the impact of marketing efforts in real time. This is immediately and continuously monitoring the effects of campaigns and site changes on your website. Here are a few highlighted ways that you might use real-time. You can determine if new or changed site content is being viewed. You can determine if a one-day promotion drives traffic and which pages are being viewed. You can monitor intermediate effects on the site traffic because of a blog post or a social media post. You can also monitor goal completions as you test your site changes. Because of the appearance on the Shark Tank with the Cupcake Company, they saw a benefit from adding other TV and radio appearances. And every time they went on either TV or radio, they could see an increase in their web traffic. Conversion reports. A conversion is a completion of an important business activity, making a purchase or getting a lead. You can use reports to see how all your channels work together towards conversions. Now, Wicked Good Cupcakes uses conversion reports quite a bit. When they make a change to their site or to their product, they want to make sure it has a positive effect on conversions. They don't want to just guess. So they grab a report from a recent period, they make the change on their website, and then they see how that change affects or doesn't affect their conversion percentage and their average order value. So one example might be that they started offering video messages to customers. This allowed them to upload a video message to a gift receipt that would be texted or emailed to them when UPS delivered the package to their door. It offered a cool way to add a personal touch to the gift giver, but it required an extra step at checkout. Whenever you add a step, you risk decreasing conversions because people don't want to go through 20 different steps to check out. So we designed the step to be as efficient as possible, making it easy to skip that step and quick for somebody who wants to do that step. So with each feature addition, they were able to measure the conversion percentage and adjust accordingly. Audience reports. Now, audience reports gives you insights into the characteristic of your users, such as the demographics, the interests, the geography, the language, the behavior, and what type of devices your audience is using to view your website. Business owners often have preconceived notions about who their audience is, but Google Analytics can help you learn more about your audience and potentially detect a mismatch. So remember when we said that Wicked Good Cupcakes initially assumed that their target audience was females aged 35 to 54. Once they used Google Analytics, they actually discovered that their biggest market was actually 25 to 34-year-olds, and that helped them change their marketing strategy. An acquisition report provides a window on users' Can't say it. Acquisition, behavior, conversion, which is an ABC cycle. Basically, how you acquire users, how their behavior is on your site, and their conversion patterns. So you see where traffic comes from and how the channels perform. Wicked Good Cupcakes uses acquisition reports to find out how people are searching for them and finding them through search. With this report, you can see a screenshot here. They're using terms like what you see on this report is the search terms that people get to their website, what they typed in Google to get to their website. So obviously one of the top ones are Wicked Cupcakes or Wicked Good Cupcakes, but then you can see some of the other keywords like cupcakes in a jar, gluten-free cupcakes, cupcake delivery. So that kind of tells them how people are finding their website. All right. So this is a behavior flow report. And this is a visual path that users travel once they get to a page or an event. It helps you discover what content keeps users engaged on your website and identify potential content issues. So just an FYI, you have to set this up and be tracking events before they appear in your behavior flow report. The more organized you are about setting up an event tracking code, it's easier to do this and have it work effectively. And if you've never set up events in your tracking code, usually just talk to your website designer about that. Okay. So now what? Now where do you go from here? I've just thrown a bunch of like data and charts and graphs at you. So it's clear as mud, right? Well, let me tell you where you go from here. So we talked about outlining goals and how important it is to have goals. The thing that I ask my clients all the time is I can't reach a goal and make you happy if I don't know what that goal is. So don't skip that part about identifying your goals for your website and for your business. So then you've identified the questions that you need to ask in order to reach that goal. Then you need to remember to ask the questions based on phases of the customer's engagement. Then you can see reports that can help you answer those questions. Okay. So, oh, I think I skipped a slide. Hold on one second here, guys. Nope, I didn't skip a slide. Okay. So that is everything, all the slides I have to show you regarding the Google Analytics tool. Now, I'm just going to go back to a sample here. Now, if you don't have Google Analytics installed on your website yet, that's something that you should ask your website person to do for you. Until that tracking code is installed on your website, you actually won't have any data being gathered. So you'll want to install that tracking code on your website, and then you'll be able, after about a week, it'll generate some data, and then you'll get more and more as time goes on. But if the tracking code is not installed, you won't get any data from the past. So that's probably the number one step, is to make sure that your website has the Google Analytics tracking code installed. And just talk to your website designer about that. The other thing here that I should point out is that Google Analytics is one tool for tracking website analytics. There are several out there. And one thing you will know for sure, if you use more than one, if you're like me and it's your business to do that, none of the numbers add up. So you'll get traffic from different sources depending on how you're tracking the different websites, and that's because every tool has a different definition of like what a website hit is, and measure how much time people are, or if they bounce, like what a bounce is. So every tracking tool, the numbers are never going to add up to be identical, and that's just because they add They add those up separately. They add them up differently, I guess that's the word I want to use. So anyways, when one of my favorite tools is to use the acquisition tool, and that is to be able to find out, and you'll see here on the side under acquisition search queries, and you can figure out how it is that people are finding your website, and what keywords they're using to find your website. Now, if you think that they should be finding your website, let's say my website, for example, let's say I pull up my Google Analytics report and I'm not showing up for website design. There's nothing there. Then that's my problem on my website. Now, what I need to do with that is to further develop my search engine optimization. And Google does have another webinar about search engine optimization, and it's a complex topic. You could do it over the course of a weekend, so I won't go into the in-depth part of it. But if there's something in your Google Analytics report that you believe you should be coming up for and you're not, take a hard look at your website. Because if I'm not coming up for website design, it means that I don't have a page on my website that talks about website design. Plain and simple. I need to further develop a page on my website that talks about website design, use that exact phrase, website design, several times on that page so that I can start coming up for that keyword. You certainly can't expect that if you don't have those appropriate keywords that you're going to come up. Wicked Good Cupcakes is not going to come up for tire sales. If they do, there's something seriously wrong on their website. So in order to come up in search results, you have to have certain key phrases on your website to begin with. So that's a common question I get all the time too. So I have a few other things to show you about some of Google's other tools, but before I move on to that, and that's actually doesn't take very long, does anybody have any questions about how to further use Google Analytics? All right, everybody's quiet, so I'm going to take that as a good sign. Your brains are fried from looking at all those Google Analytics slides. I know they are. They fry my brain too. So, and I do this for a living. So, there's so much data out there. No, there's no fee. Google Analytics is free. You do have to have it installed on your website, and there has to be a tracking code installed on your website. But it doesn't cost anything. And if you don't know how to do that yourself, you can have your website designer do that for you. So it's pretty easy to get installed. So I'll show you some of these other tools that Google has that can really help you learn more about the tools I'm talking about more in depth. So Primer, I love Primer because I love I guess I'm just a giant nerd and I like to learn things all the time. But Google Primer is a really cool mobile tool. And if you go onto either the Apple Store or the Google Play Store and you type in Google Primer, the icon looks like a little green flag. And so it's called Primer. And what those are, they are totally free, and they're like mini courses that are designed for business and marketing. And you can take, and actually there's kind of a whole host of things now. They've kind of expanded it. But they're short, fun lessons that are less than 5 minutes. And so what I like is, like, if I'm sitting at the doctor's office, I can like pull up Primer and I can do a little lesson on, like, search engine optimization, or using Google My Business, or there's a new one called Google Trends that's really cool, and I just haven't had the time to learn it. But anyways, you can take these little mini courses on Google Primer and you can just learn a whole host of stuff that'll be really helpful for your business. Skillshop, that's g.co/Skillshop. This is again another free tool, and it's all about learning about Google's various tools. That can be Google Ads, Google My Business, it could be YouTube, it can be Google Analytics. There's lots there. Now, everything here is actually designed from beginners all the way up to advanced users. So you'll get a whole host of training on this, and this is 100% free as well. So if you sell online, now this is an entirely new thing. I haven't even had a chance to look at this, but this is a new tool called Grow My Store, and you can reach it by going to g.co/grow my store. And this is for online retailers. You can go to Grow My Store. You can enter in the URL of your online store, and you can have it kick back a report that can tell you if it's running into any problems or flow with how people might check out, and it'll give you suggestions with how to help your store grow online. Get quick help videos. These are really fun because they're just simple answers that, like, how do I get my business listed on Google search? How do I create a YouTube channel? How can I start a Google Meet conference? These are just super fast things that you can look at, and that's g.co/grow/quick help. All right. So as I had mentioned at the start of this, I'm a volunteer with the Grow with Google program. And the Grow with Google program has a bunch of free online training and tools, not only for small business owners like the people that I help, but there's also help for job seekers, teachers, startups and entrepreneurs. There's help for developers. You can learn to code on here. There's also help specific for veterans. So if you're a veteran, there's specific help for you. And this is a free program. It's free training and free tools. So check that out. Lots of cool things out there that I didn't even know existed until I got started in this program. So that is everything. I know we went through things really quick, but normally when I do these classes in person, I'm kind of like walking around and checking on people's laptops and looking at their analytics report. But we're not doing that right now because we're all virtual. So does anybody have any final questions before I let you guys go? It is all quiet. So I will let everybody go, and I appreciate everybody who registered for the using data to drive business growth. I know I threw a lot of information at you, but there is more out there. There are those resources I shared at the end of this presentation. And I'm also doing, let's see, I think I have 4 or 5 more presentations to do. So this throughout July and August. So if you liked this and you'd like more, we're doing a YouTube one the end of July, and there's a 2-part one on how to have your website. It's called How to Make Your Website Work for You, and that talks a lot about search engine optimization. And that's a 2-parter. That's in August. But if you go to my website, which is girlgeekllc.com, and in the upper, on the menu on the top, you just click on events, you'll see all of the webinars that I'm doing. I'm doing, like, I don't know, 8 or 9 or some crazy number. So go check that out, and please register. They're all free, so no worries there, and I'm not going to sell you anything. So no worries there. So thank you guys. Thank you for your comments, and you guys have a great rest of your day, and be well. Thank you.